The waves crashed hard against the rocks that morning. Ethan Turner, a single dad from a small coastal town, stood by the shore, his 6-year-old daughter Lily building a crooked sandcastle beside him. He wasn't there for peace, he was there for clarity. Bills were piling up, the garage he worked at had cut his hours, and Christmas was 3 weeks away. He was trying to figure out how to tell his daughter Santa might be late this year. That's when he heard the scream. At first, it blended with the ocean wind, but then, clearer, panic, desperation. Ethan looked up and saw her, a woman thrashing in the waves, her arms fighting against the pull of the current. There was no one else around. Without thinking, he ran. The water was freezing. Every muscle in his body burned as he fought the tide, but instinct drove him forward. He reached her just as she went under, grabbing her arm and pulling her up with a force powered by pure adrenaline. It took everything he had to get her back to shore. She was unconscious when he laid her on the sand. "Hey! Come on, breathe!" Ethan shouted, pressing down on her chest. He didn't know her name, her story, or why she'd been out there, but in that moment, nothing else mattered. A cough. Then another. She gasped, water spilling from her mouth as she blinked up at the gray sky. He sighed in relief. She was alive. When the ambulance came, Ethan didn't stay for questions or thanks. He just gave his name, wrapped Lily's tiny hand in his, and walked home, wet, cold, but strangely at peace. He didn't want attention, he'd just done what anyone should do. 3 days later, a black car pulled up outside his small apartment. A woman stepped out, elegant, polished, her presence commanding the air around her. It took Ethan a moment to recognize her. The woman from the beach. She looked very different now, though, confident, composed, and surrounded by security. "Mr. Turner," she said softly. "You saved my life." Ethan wiped his hands on his jeans, caught off guard. "Just did what anyone would have done." "Not everyone would have risked their life for a stranger," she replied. "I'm Victoria Hale." The name hit him like a wave. Victoria Hale, the reclusive tech billionaire whose company basically ran half the digital world. The woman whose face he'd seen on magazine covers and news segments, now standing on his porch, eyes full of emotion. "Over coffee," she explained. She'd been at the coast alone that day, escaping the noise of her world. The pressure, the constant competition, the emptiness of success. She hadn't meant to go that far into the water, it was like her mind had wandered too far, too. "When you pulled me out," she said quietly, "you didn't just save me from drowning. You saved me from myself." Ethan didn't know what to say. He wasn't used to heavy words from powerful people. He just nodded, unsure how to process that the woman sitting across from him owned more in a day than he'd make in a lifetime. Victoria noticed the worn-out shoes near the door, the cracked walls, the faint smell of motor oil. She saw kindness where the world often overlooked it. Before leaving, she handed Lily a small wrapped box. "Something for your Christmas," she said with a warm smile. A week later, Ethan got a call. It was from a law firm, Victoria Hale's, apparently. She had made arrangements for him. He opened the email she'd sent, a full scholarship for Lily's education. A grant to rebuild his garage into his own business. No strings attached. He tried to call, to thank her, but her assistant said Ms. Hale was traveling, a quiet retreat, she called it. Still, a postcard arrived 2 weeks later. On it, the ocean stretched endlessly beneath a handwritten note. "Sometimes the people who save us don't wear suits or capes. They just show up when the world is drowning us." Months passed. Ethan's small garage became Turner Auto and Son, though Lily insisted it should say, and daughter. Business flourished, not because of money, but because of heart. People came, not just for repairs, but for the man who helped a stranger without asking for anything in return. One late evening, as he closed up shop, a familiar black car stopped by again. Victoria stepped out, no cameras, no bodyguards, just her. "I had to see it," she said, smiling softly. "What you built?" He smiled back. "Guess we both rebuilt something." For a moment, silence hung between them, gentle, real, filled with unspoken gratitude. The ocean roared faintly in the distance, as if echoing that first moment fate had thrown them together. "Dinner?" she asked finally. He grinned. "Only if I get to cook." "Deal," she said. "But next time, I'm saving you." That night, under a sky freckled with stars, two people who'd nearly lost everything found something they didn't know they were searching for: hope, connection, and a second chance at life. Because sometimes, it takes a single act of kindness to change not just one life, but two. Moral: kindness doesn't need wealth, status, or power. It just needs a willing heart. And when given freely, it always finds its way back.